I'm joined this week by one of my really good friends, Ricky, and my dog Remy, who is sitting on his lap because that's what she likes to do. Ricky, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a little nervous, but Remy is a great support dog, so she's calming my nerves for everything.
She is. She's always nervous too, so she just takes
Yeah.
it for you.
Yeah, so she's awesome.
Hold on. I don't know what Remy's doing. Remy, hey.
She's protecting. She can feel the nervous energy on me, and she's healing me.
Before we get into anything, I want the people to hear kind of your backstory. And the reason I brought you on, Ricky, is because you and Paige, your wife, are one of my favorite couples ever. I love you guys. I look up to you guys. You give me hope for so many things. And so you're coming on after a attachment theory expert, and we were talking all about relationships and how secure relationships are really cool and can give you hope. Well, that's you. That's you and Paige. You give me hope. Does that feel weird? Or are you like, what?
Yeah, so
Why?
that does feel like a little weird because you're like pointing to us as the model. But I get it, and thank you. I don't know how much hope I can give others, but I thank you for the compliment. That is very sincere, and hopefully I can tie some of the principles that the attachment theorist came on and spoke about.
Yeah. So I want you to give them a little bit of you and Paige's story. Like, tell me your guys' love story, how you guys met, and kind of decided to get married.
Yes. So Paige and I met at Western Kentucky University in Bowling Green, Kentucky. At the time, she was dating someone, and I believe I was too. But I did see a lot of people that I wanted to date at that time as a college kid. But our roommates were also dating, and that's how we kind of met. And then we ended up having a class. One day I went to a donut shop and I wanted to get a donut before a class, but there was a minimum for a debit card, so I got two of them. And she says like, "Oh my gosh, you got this for me because you had a crush." In reality, I did get it because I had to spend a certain amount on the debit card, but I did think she was cute, but I couldn't let her know that at the time, so I did drop off a donut. I think I was.
Wait, hold on. Okay. So let me just break this down really quick. You really only got two donuts because of the debit card.
Yes.
But you chose to give her your second donut.
Yes.
Of all the people, she was the chosen one.
Well, she was the only one I knew, but she was the prettiest in the class. So it's like, this seems like a great way to flirt with someone.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how it started. But she thought it was like, I got it strictly for her. And when I was like, all right, well, circumstances dictated that you got one. So that's how we met. And then I remember another time in that class, I walked her to her car. But like I said, she always had a boyfriend, and I tried really, really hard to flirt with her, and she wouldn't give me any attention. But then after we graduated, she moved to Nashville, and they broke up, and I just didn't give her a chance to talk to anyone. I was attached to her like Remy is to me right now.
Remy is. She's like, I got to sit in his lap for this, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And at that time, when we were both on the same page, like we're both broke college kids paying back debt, just trying to start our career. We're kind of like on the same page and like of the same status, and just working and working and working, grinding together by maintaining our personal life. And we dated for about 5 years before we got engaged, and then we got married, and we've been married now since 2018, so 6 years. So it started with a donut, and 6 years later, we're here with our first kid. He's about to turn 2.
Okay, and so you dated all throughout college from that kind of moment?
No. We dated. It was my full disclosure. It was my 5th year in college, which I know there's only supposed to be 4. I was hoping you wouldn't time. I was hoping you wouldn't timestamp it. It was her 4th year.
You know how many people do the 5th year? A lot of people do the victory lap.
That's very fair. So no, we dated like at the after college. We met at the very, very end. I was supposed to be gone, so the credit to the 5th year.
See, so there was a reason.
There was a reason. I had to find my future wife and finish my credits at the same time. So no, our college was a different experience for both of us. I was more of the social kind, and she did not party or really drink until she met me. And I don't know what that says about me, that she started drinking post me. But yeah, so no, we did not date through college. It was really, we met it towards the end of college and started dating completely after college.
And now, why did it take 5 years for y'all to wait before getting married?
Because we were broke. I mean, that is the short and skinny of it. And like, I was 22, 23 years old, and 23-year-old Ricky was not responsible enough to like legitimately ask for somebody's hand in marriage and actually fulfill the promises that I was going to make. Yeah, and there was no way. And to be fair, my wife was more mature than me at that time, no doubt. But she would even say she wasn't ready to get married at all. So that 5 years, it was kind of growing into ourselves, because we wanted to still maintain our own lives. And at 23, you don't know who you are. You don't know where you're going to be in your career. So it took a lot. We had to learn to live together. But really, we both were concentrated on our careers. And just at the time, we couldn't afford to date, or we couldn't afford to actually be together in any real way that we can fulfill our promises.
So at what moment in you guys, that like kind of 5 years, were you like, I'm going to marry this girl? Even though circumstances may have not allowed it to happen, what was the moment for you where you're like, I'm going to marry this girl?
Yes. So that's a great question. And I think Jess was asking me that all the time. So full disclosure, I was not so kind. I think we'd been dating for a year, and then I kind of broke up with her on my birthday for selfish reasons. And the selfish reasons, I wanted to go watch Derek Jeter's last baseball game. Broke up on her birthday, and then I thought I was going to be fine.
Wait, hold on. You broke up on her birthday?
Like I said, it wasn't very kind of me. And like I said, 23-year-old Ricky was not mature, and and at that time I was like, oh well, I've only been dating for a year. But then I really did miss her. And like after that, I was like, all right, I know I'm going to marry this girl. And if I ask for her to get back with me, that should be my intentions. I shouldn't say, just get back to me because I'm lonely and bored. So it was at that time I was like, all right, if I'm getting back with her, it's with the intent that I will marry her and make good on my wrongs.
Okay, and you did. You guys did get married, and you now have a kid.
Yes. But every birthday, she certainly reminds me of it.
Still to this day,
Still to this day, yes.
Okay, but I think all of that are cool lessons for people in the experiences of relationships and love, because you guys, I didn't even know that part of your guys' story. And I
try to block it out. not something I offer up.
Okay, but you guys are genuinely one of my favorite couples, and I look to you guys because I think your marriage is so beautiful in a lot of ways. And I didn't even know that. So look at how far you guys have come to be who you guys are.
Yes. And so it's more so like how far I've become. I've grown because I was the one that had to do self-growing, and it certainly wasn't her. So how far I've grown, that is something to marvel at, considering where I started.
Do you feel like what were the qualities that you looked at for her while you were going through that growing pains? Because it sounds like too, I'll break the attachment theory expert on just very briefly for you. Basically, there's these 4 different categories. You're either an anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, a disorganized attachment, or a secure attachment. And it sounds like your wife was a secure attachment. She was healthy. She knew what she wanted.
Yeah.
Would that be accurate?
Yes. And I would say the first thing was her loyalty. Trustworthiness and being a good mother. Those are the 2 qualities that I've really needed. I knew if I'm going to get married, I want to have kids. And those are I can build a relationship on the foundation of trust and honesty. And she was, and I know that because, like I said, when we met, she had a boyfriend in college. I constantly tried to hit on her, and she denied me every single time. And I was extremely charming and demanding and persistent. So I was like, wow, she's loyal to a fault because he's not as cool as me. And she won't give in. So I knew that was one thing. I was like, all right, that's something I'll never, ever have to worry about, is her loyalty and her trustworthiness. And then it was hardworking. She had ambition. She had fire, which is something I really admired in a partner. As someone that's also a go-getter, because I feel like we'll never be bored because we'll both always be wanting more for ourselves. Therefore, we won't settle. So that was it. And also, and like I said, she had all the traits that I knew she was going to be a good mother. She was dependent. We laughed a lot together. That's the biggest thing. We could just have our own date and go sing and dance, and it would be a lot of fun. So I knew those traits would never fade. So I knew that would never fade. And then we can build a foundation of laughter, trust, loyalty, honesty, and being a good parent, then that's something that's sustainable and you can go through your life with.
Yeah, those are really good qualities, and all of them. And you both have really awesome qualities. Now, one of the really cool parts of your relationship to me, but I know that it was probably difficult for you guys at times, is that you guys are an interracial couple.
Yes.
Paige and I are similar. We are both white, blonde, and this is our look. Yeah. And you're black. That had to be difficult at moments for you guys.
So more so her, because I was the first interracial relationship she was ever in. and she wasn't my first, so like I had gotten past all the comments and all that, knowing we'd be treated differently. But it was interesting to see her deal with that and how she reconciled with it, from friends, and just like the look she would get and the comments she would get, like in the wake of George Floyd, and you see comments like across social media, and she would be surprised, like, oh my gosh, this is how that person really feels. And I know it like almost even angered her more than it angered me, because I'd got used to it, but this was something that was new and fresh to her. And that's another thing. Like I was like, oh my gosh, she would go to bat for me, in the smallest ways. And she did not care about that at all. And she wouldn't put up with anyone, zero tolerance. I don't care if it's friends or family, for anyone that said anything differently. So it was certainly eye-opening for her. I know there's a couple incidents I don't even need to go into that sounded the alarm for her, and that, but she was so loyal and dedicated that I knew it didn't matter to her. I knew she was always going to be on the right side of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's why I say it's cool, because of how beautifully you guys have handled that and how much you guys just support and love each other through all of that.
Yeah, exactly. And she's not afraid to hide like from that. She will be like the biggest activist in those situations. So of course that makes me extremely proud. And I will say she's a great dancer, so she won my family over instantly.
Okay, that was the winning move, literally.
Yeah. I think that's how she broke the ice at the Black family reunion. She just started dancing. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's really good.
Okay, so question. Whenever I get on TikTok, I will always see like the Black community come in the comments if it's a cooking video and be like, you're invited to the cookout.
Yeah.
Did she have any good cooking dishes where she would have been invited to the cookout beyond the dancing?
She got invited to the cookout from her dancing skills first, because I don't think she had a chance to prepare the dish, because you're still gonna look at her like, I don't know about her actually preparing the food yet. Okay. Let's see what she got. Like, hey, we got a good thing going over here. And like my family lives in Detroit, and like it would be harder for her to go to Detroit and actually cook a dish. But the dance floor opportunity presented itself, and that's how she got her invitation to the cookout. Okay.
Well, at least she's got one thing, really going for her.
Yeah, she's got it.
Okay. I also wanted to talk to you too, because, we just kind of ventured as to some of the hard moments you guys have had, but how do you guys handle hard moments that present themselves for your guys' relationship?
Open communication. So that's really it. And then like the hard moments depend. If the hard moments are like irreconcilable, then it's a problem. But if they're hard moments and like somebody made a mistake or going through something difficult, like you might lose a job, you might do something. If you really make good on your promise, like, hey, I vowed to support you through the good times and the bad, then you will come back to that center and try to support somebody through the good and the bad, and you at least like find an understanding where they're coming from and see like how can you help them, because that's the thing. I can be different. I can be moody, and how you would comfort someone or react to something could be different, like depending on the person you're comforting. So like knowing how that person wants to communicate, knowing like the words of affirmation that person needs to go forward, just knowing that person and like knowing what they need, because needs are different based on who you're on a relationship with. And it's important to treat them like how they want to be treated and not how you would want to be treated, really.
You are so mature for like genuinely just as a human being, but also because accepting that and knowing that are one thing, but actively choosing to do that is hard. And you've been doing that constantly in your marriage. So why was that so important for you to like bring that to the table in a partnership?
Well, what's really gonna make me happy? It never makes me feel good if I don't try to understand where somebody's coming from. And then and I am very stubborn. I certainly can be stubborn. If you ask my wife, she'd be like, yes, he's way too stubborn and bullheaded. But at the end of the day, like being right doesn't matter as much as supporting the person that you love. So even if you are thinking right, which I mostly am, hopefully Paige doesn't watch this part. But like, it doesn't matter. You kind of throw your ego aside when you realize there's a person on the other side that really loves you and really just wants you to get to see their perspective on things. And it makes it almost impossible not to try to get an understanding of where they're coming from, no matter how I guess indifferent you are about their feelings or the situation.
Yeah, and you guys too are also really good at balancing. Like, you are one of the couples. Another reason why I admire you guys is because your friendships and your life outside of not only your marriage, but of being parents are really important to you.
Yes.
How do you guys make that a priority when you do, you're juggling so many plates?
So that's a good question, and I think that's what makes us successful, because I think in a partner you don't want an over reliance on your happiness become from one person. I guess it's like in stocks, it's like you want to kind of diversify your portfolio, so your portfolio of happiness. And we know we bring each other great happiness, but if our stocks are filled with all Ricky happiness and all Paige happiness with each other, then if that collapses, then it's going to go downhill. But so it's important to maintain like a healthy lifestyle. So we both love going to the gym, and naturally we're going to have gym friends that we want to hang out with. But that all that stuff helps us be productive professionals and productive parents. It's literally a reset. And like, to be quite honest, she would get sick if anyone spent all their time with me, they would get sick of me pretty easily. So for us, it is important to strike that balance between friends and family, and then each other, because you kind of need all those parts.
Yeah, you guys are really good at it. Like, genuinely, you're really great. You're better than some people I know that are just in like a normal relationship.
Yeah.
You know, you guys have made that a priority since you guys have been my friends. That's always been something for you guys.
Yeah, I think so, because like at the end of, like I said, happiness, like life, I think, is about developing and fostering relationships. And like relationships like yours aren't worth losing because I have a kid or I'm married. It's like, why can't we just still hang out? Like, it kind of makes no sense why you would stop doing those things that brought you happiness or still do bring you happiness, just because you might be short on time. You can budget time other ways. But also, like, try to get enough sleep, because energy, I feel like, is a skill and a resource, and you kind of need a lot of, like, and relationships maintain. They require a lot of energy to maintain. So keep your energy levels up.
Yeah, you see, you're just a healthy person overall, Ricky. Look at you. This is also why he's called Pretty Ricky. There's a reason, you know?
I just got done eating like my son's leftover chicken tenders, so I wouldn't go too far. But thank you for the comment.
Oh, it's also really cool to see just how you guys have also evolved as a couple while having your first kid. What has been the change that you've noticed in your guys' relationship since welcoming a kid into the mix of things? You
mean outside one of us passing the monitor to each other and saying your turn?
Yeah.
The other, so like a kid does, people say you shouldn't have a relationship to save a kid, or shouldn't have a kid to save a relationship, and we were never doing that. We wanted to, but it does make a relationship stronger, because you have to be like, you and your partner have to be extremely locked in for that kid, because it's not about you anymore. All your decisions are not about just you two and how they affect you two. It's a greater purpose. It's your kid. So being an extreme lock and step, and like, since we do like maintaining our social lives and our physical lives, it's important to shift the burden. Like, she shouldn't get 100% of the burden on anything, and neither should I. It is important to balance the responsibilities of parenting. And then like household chores too, since she works all the time. I'm not gonna make her like cook and then put the kid down every time. Like, I need to step in somewhere and do that. And also, like, I travel a good amount for work, and she's always there for me to support me, so I can like still chase my career dreams and everything. So I would say just healthy communication and being open to balancing every piece of responsibility, because you're gonna have a significant more responsibility with a kid. And it will not work if one person is doing all the work. Somebody's going to get burnt out, and somebody's going to get resentful.
Oh, you see, look at you. Like, picture the picture perfect husband. I know Paige is going to listen to this and be absolutely not. But
yeah, she like, it depends on the day of the week.
Yeah, but that's also human, right? I know that you guys genuinely are, and you guys have had your own battles and things that have come up. But what's so amazing about you guys as a couple, and why I look to you guys, is because you figure it out, and you show up and you support each other. And like, no matter what life throws at you guys, like, I always know you guys are going to have each other's backs.
Yes. And yes, she does. Yeah, and she does a great job of that. Cause like, I could be like probably the moody and irritable one the most. So she definitely, she works harder at that.
Well, I would like to, because you are a great husband. And yes, I know she would give you a hard time, but you are a great husband. You're a great dad.
She would agree.
She would agree. I want you to give some advice, whether maybe it's to like the guys. Listen, I always have girls on here, and we're always talking about relationships. So maybe it's to the guys who are out there dating, like what they should be doing to find a potential partner in a marriage that you have.
So it is different, because like when me and Paige were together, neither of us have been on apps, and I realized actually meeting someone and cultivating relationships a little different.
Well, you just have to buy a donut, apparently.
You got hey, old fashioned works. I would say, like, if you really, really like someone, do stuff that's always going to make them happy. Do stuff that's always going to make them smile, because then they will love you. It doesn't matter about how you look or what your career is. If you are constantly like, I am trying to prove to you that I'm the one, and you're constantly working at that, it's a never fail proposition. And as a guy, know what you want. Know the characteristics that you want in a woman or a wife. And be steadfast on that, because if you compromise, and no one, listen, and I guess it's the 80-20 rule for marriage. You're going to love 80%. You're probably not going to love 20%. But everyone's going to have about 20% of the stuff that they don't love. So don't throw that all away if they have the rest of the 80%. I would say if somebody meets that 80% and you know that you can build a relationship with them, and you go all in for it, don't dilly dally around. Hey, I had to learn that mistake the hard way. When I tried to go see my favorite baseball player on her birthday. But then I knew what I wanted. So I would say try to constantly court her, and show her that you really care and appreciate her.
Oh, that's great advice. I hope we have plenty of men listening, because I think some guys need to hear what you just had to say.
Yes, treat her like a queen, and it really is gonna make your life easier, and you're going to have, you'll have a very, very loyal person on your hands.
Oh, it's great. Well, Ricky, any other last words you want to say? Is there anything you would like to say to Paige? Because she is probably going to listen to this.
Oh, man. Hey, thank you. Thank you for putting up with me. I know I'm annoying. So that's probably it, because I'll be gone for a couple days for work, and then she's like, oh my God, I miss you. Then when I get back, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm annoyed. So I will try to tone that down a little bit, Paige. I'll be better.
See, constantly working.
Yeah,
to be
constantly
better.
working on my. Hey, God's working on all of us, Paige. Just give me another 10 years. I'll have it under control.
Well, Ricky, thanks for coming on and being vulnerable and opening up. It's good to sit down and chat with you in this capacity, not just as friends.
Yeah, no, thank you. This was a lot more comfortable than I thought. Thank you for Remy for being my emotional support.
She's got you.
But I love this setting, and I love what you're doing. And thank you for having me on. You've been a great friend. You should do a podcast on you being a great friend. I can host it. I can list all the superlatives about Morgan, why she's a great friend.
I might just need that for myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Energy.
Yeah, title it here's why I'm great.
I'm going to need that. Yeah. All right, Ricky, thank you.
Yes, thank you.